you can just pop in and you can see, Michelle said, what kind of show they're putting on there, and that would mean whatever kind of extraordinary artistic installation is being put on. You can also go and see other exhibitions which are being featured, and there are some, really interesting works of contemporary art. If that's your kind of thing, you can go in and stand in front of some pretty abstract-looking work, and it's a good talking point. It's a good thing to go with a friend and just talk about what you're looking at and what it means to you. So there you go. And yes, a nice tip from Michelle, there is a bar up on one of the upper floors with a balcony that overlooks the river, and there's a really great view from that balcony. That is one of the best sights that you can see, one of the best views is up from the balcony of the bar of the Tate Modern, and you can see a fantastic view of St. Paul's Cathedral, which is a really magnificent sight, I can tell you. And so, yeah, a glass of wine on the balcony overlooking that view. Yeah, you can't get much better than that in London. Right, let's move on then. And next we're going to hear from Zdenek. Zdenek is a fellow English teacher and podcaster, originally from the Czech Republic, who used to live in London and taught English in a school there on Oxford Street. So let's hear what Zdenek has to say.
Zdenek from the Czech Republic here. It's really hard to pick just one thing to do in London because there are so many. But I suppose my favorite thing to do in London would be to see a Premier League game. The atmosphere in the stadium is just electric, and I simply love the feeling right before the game where everyone is so excited, everyone is buzzing, the crowd is just up for the game, and it's just this collective feeling of excitement and expectations. Your team doesn't always win, of course, but the feeling of being a football fan in London is simply one of a kind.
Thank you, Zdenek. And yeah, so football. No one else has mentioned this. Zdenek's the only one to mention this, but it's a big thing, of course, in London. I don't know how many football clubs there are. Obviously, there are the famous ones: Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Fulham, Queen's Park Rangers, West Ham, Millwall, Brentford. I'm sure I'm missing some. Crystal Palace. But there are more than that as well, like lower league ones as well. I don't think I've forgot anyone. Maybe I've forgotten a really major one. I don't think so. But yes, going to see a Premier League football game, if you can get tickets, they can be difficult to get. But wow, what an experience and what an atmosphere. As Zdenek said, the atmosphere is just electric, which is a nice expression, nice way to describe an exciting atmosphere. Everyone in the stadium is buzzing. If people are buzzing, it means they're really excited. They're in a kind of excitable, positive mood. Lots of, talking. There's a lot of energy going on, a lot of expectation before the game begins. I mean, it is an amazing experience. Just like going to see football in any big stadium, when you go to get your seats initially and you come out into the stadium, you can hear the atmosphere, you can hear the people all talking, getting ready, there's music playing, and you see the pitch, and it's so green, it's just so luminous and green, and you think, wow, this is it. This is like being in the Roman Colosseum or something. What are we going to see? Just football. No one's going to get killed by a tiger or anything, hopefully. So everyone's buzzing, and the crowd is up for the game. To be up for something. To be up for something means really interested in it, really excited about it, and just really expecting it and looking forward to it. Everyone's really up for the game. And yes, going to see Premier League football in London, the experience is one of a kind. As Zdenek said, if something is one of a kind, it means it's unique. It's a unique experience. It really is one of a kind. Okay, now, if you want to hear more from Zdenek about football, you could listen to his podcast, which combines talking about football with English teaching. So if you're an English learner and you love football, you could listen to his show. It's called the Footglish Podcast, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. Footglish, you see what he's done? Football and English. Footglish, yes, the Footglish Podcast. It's clever, isn't it? Zdenek is an Arsenal fan.
मिलाई क्यों है?
which connects
जटिलताएं
to
क्या
my
होता है?
next guest,
ओ
who is
ओ की
also a
मात्रा
lifelong
ऊपर, सबसे
fan
ऊपर.
of the Gunners.
हाँ.
That's the nickname for Arsenal. So who
वो
is that
ऐसे
then?
नहीं
Well,
होता है.
it's Paul Langton,
नो.
and here he is.
Right, what's my
हाँ,
favourite thing to
अब
do
लग
in
रहा है.
London? Well, London's a very expensive city, but it's
देख
also
के
a very
लिख रहा है.
beautiful city. So one of my favourite things to do is if the weather's nice enough, or if I've got a decent enough waterproof jacket, I'll walk in the rain and I shall walk around. Some of the best walks are by the River Thames, in any direction really. Start by one of the big bridges like Tower Bridge or London Bridge
ये
or
इसीलिए
Waterloo
तेरी
Bridge, which has the
ऐसे
best
पकड़ता है तू पेन, तभी तो अच्छी नहीं
view of
आती
London,
राइटिंग.
in my opinion.
ऐसे कौन पकड़ता है?
And just walk along
क्यों?
the river. You'll see a bit of every part
नहीं,
of
ऐसे
London,
पकड़ो.
and every
आदत डालो
every
का
part
और
of
कभी
our
ऑफिस
culture as
ऑफिस
well.
में
In
ऐसे
different
पकड़ेगा,
parts, such as
बोलेंगे
very
क्या बॉस
Portuguese
हमारा
areas in
बेवकूफ
Stockwell,
है.
if you take in from the
हाँ,
river and
ऐसे
go a
पकड़
little bit
तब देख
southern.
राइटिंग थोड़ी
If
सही
you're
है
down
ये.
the east end, you'll see our big like Bangladeshi community. If you head in a bit north from the river and you see Brick Lane, you see all the different parts of the history of London, the veritable smorgasbord that is London culture. Also, walking down that river, you will see every form and walk of life, and you will see restaurants, cafes, bistros, most importantly for me, bars, so you can always stop off for a drink on the way. That's my answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you, Paul. And let's see. By the way, Paul is another friend of mine from the stand-up comedy world in London. And Paul is a Londoner, born and bred, and he is that rare thing, someone who actually grew up in Zone 1 of central London, and you can hear it in his accent. He's got that kind of authentic London accent. It's not exactly a Cockney accent, because to be specific, a Cockney accent really is the accent of someone who was born in a certain district in the east of London, within the sound of the bells of the church in Bow, technically speaking, although often in common speaking, when we say a Cockney accent, we mean that sort of London accent, which sounds a bit like that. And Paul's got definitely a London accent.
How you like that?
ये अच्छा है, ऐसे लिखने में मजा आ रहा
है ना? वो पेन का पकड़ने का ही ढंग से वो हो जाता है. काम से वो पड़ी तुमने देखी ना कमरा बाहर वाले
है.
हैं?
ऐसे पकड़ते हैं ना?
हाँ,
मैं कैसे पकड़ता हूँ?
तो ऐसे हाँ, बिल्कुल गलत है.
So what did he say? He basically talked about walking along the river, and by walking along the river, you get to see all these different things and all these different aspects of our culture. And if you go from the river and just go to some districts off the river, if you walk away from the river in a southerly or northerly direction, then you will also find different communities. So he says that he just likes to walk, and there are a few walkers in this part. We've had Ian Moore, who loves walking. There's Paul here, who loves walking even on a rainy day. He says if you have a decent enough waterproof jacket, which is a really good point. You know, people do talk about the rain in London. In the summertime, it's often lovely and sunny, but yeah, it can rain at any time, so it's always worth having a reasonable waterproof jacket, because really there's no such thing as bad weather. There is just bad clothing, you know. So if you are prepared for rain, if you've got a decent enough waterproof jacket, then you're fine. You can just carry on. In fact, I quite like that. I do love a walk in the rain, as long as I'm nice and dry and cozy under an umbrella or inside some nice waterproof jacket, then it's fine. And there's a certain atmosphere and a kind of almost romance to the rainy streets of London. There's something nice about it. You can stop off in a pub or cafe, you know, to escape the worst of the rain, or just shelter somewhere. Anyway, a decent enough jacket. So if something is decent, it means it's of good enough quality, right? If you've got a decent waterproof jacket, then it's good enough to keep you dry, basically. Walking along the river, you see different cultures. Paul mentioned the different communities, the Portuguese community that you can find in Stockwell. There's the Bangladeshi community around Brick Lane that we heard about from Amber in part one of this. Paul mentioned the veritable smorgasbord that is London culture. There's a nice expression, the veritable smorgasbord of something, or a smorgasbord of something. Now, smorgasbord is actually a word that comes from Swedish. I wonder if you use that phrase in your language as well. Has it entered other languages from Swedish as well? But it's certainly in English. A smorgasbord of something means a variety of different things. So here, Paul is talking about the variety of different cultures that we have in London. It is a veritable smorgasbord of different cultures. A smorgasbord, smorgas in Swedish, I understand, means sandwich or something like a sandwich. And smorgasbord, board here would be a table. So it's kind of like a smorgasbord is a sandwich table, or you can imagine a table with lots of different sandwiches or lots of different types of sandwich or toasted sandwich on the board, right? So it means a big variety of things. And we've taken that in English to refer to a variety of anything. So that is a smorgasbord. And Paul also said that you will see every form of life and every walk of life, which is another nice phrase, every walk of life. So here, we're not actually talking about walking with our feet, but every walk of life. So when you talk about walks of life, we're talking about different people in society, okay? So from all walks of life means from all different types of background or from different professions. So a walk of life is someone's position in society, especially the type of job they have. So if you see people from any walk of life, it means you see people, lots of different types of people who do different things. This is all walks of life, all different types of people, basically. And finally, Paul said that, you know, you can see all these different things, and you can see bars as well, which is interesting for Paul because he likes to stop off for a drink. So there's a phrasal verb to not just to stop for a drink, but stop off for a drink. What's the difference then between stop for a drink and stop off for a drink? Well, stop off for a drink suggests that you are perhaps taking a brief stop on a journey. So you're on a journey, you're walking down the river, and if you stop off for a drink, it means you stop briefly for a drink, and then you can carry on your walk. Or you're driving, you might stop off to get some petrol, right? Stop off for a rest. So it's just like kind of briefly stop while you're on a journey, to stop off for something. Yes. You can listen to Paul on the podcast if you're interested, because he's been on the podcast before. You can listen to him in a few episodes, but for example, the drunk episode with Moz, episode 109, if my memory serves me well. I think that was 109. But also, you could listen to Paul in a funny episode recorded during the COVID lockdown. That is number 667, called Four-Way Call, with Moz, who you heard in part 1, and our friend Alex Love, who didn't send me a recording because he is a dosser and a dwad. And that's a joke for Alan Partridge fans, which Alex is. Anyway, now, moving on to the next person, and we are keeping it in the family now, because you're going to hear from my brother, James. And you know James, he's my brother. Here he is.
Hi, my name's James, and my favourite thing to do in London is not just one thing. I like to go to an area that I know and do a lot of things all in one day. So I might go to Brixton, have a mooch about, maybe go for a cup of tea and a fry up somewhere. Then maybe go check out a record shop, have a look around there, dig through some of the vinyl boxes there. Then I might go on to go escape for a few hours, then maybe visit a local shop, then maybe see some friends and end up going to the pub. That would be a good day for me. That's something I like about London, is some of the areas, if you know them well, there's lots of things to do all in a close proximity. So you can be treated like a little town, a little village, and you don't need to get on the tube. You just go to one area that you like, and everything's kind of in that area. So that's a good thing about London. It's like lots of little villages all joined up. I also like going to band practice, which I can do in Brixton as well, or drumming practice or something like that. There's a practice studio there. So that's what I like to do in London. Bye.
Well, that was James Thompson. Thank you very much. So James said that he likes to go to one particular area and then do lots of different places in that area, remembering that London is not really one single city with a recognisable centre, that it is in fact a collection of towns or villages that are all connected. And this is a thing to understand about London. This is one of the reasons it's so big, is that actually historically this is how it was. It was a number of settlements or a number of towns, the main one being, I guess, the City of London, which is now a district. It's the City of London. That's the financial heart of London. And then next to that is the City of Westminster, which was a different settlement. That's where ultimately the sort of royal family based itself, and the government, parliament-related buildings are there. But then there are all these other districts or towns, and as those towns grew and became more and more built up, they basically all merged together to create this huge metropolis. But James was talking about Brixton in the south of London, south of the river, doing a lot of different things. So he said going to Brixton to have a mooch about, to have a mooch about, mooch, M-O-O-C-H, and about, to have a mooch about. To mooch about is basically, it's an informal British expression meaning to wander around, to walk around in a casual way, right, to wander around in a not very specific way, just kind of moving from one place to the next, seeing where you end up, which is a nice relaxing thing to do, where you don't have a specific aim in mind. You're just going from place to place in a kind of relaxed or casual way. So go to Brixton, have a mooch about, as James said, and what else? Maybe go and have a fry up. A fry up, this means a fried breakfast, and the typical English fried breakfast would be, sausage, bacon, eggs, baked beans, toast, maybe mushrooms, maybe tomato, maybe even a black pudding. And that is, black pudding is from a blood sausage, which sounds so awful, but it's so good. But most fry-ups don't really have black pudding. That's a bit of a specialist thing. But yeah, certainly bacon, eggs, sausage, beans, toast, and a nice cup of tea, a nice strong cup of builder's tea. That would be a classic fry-up. And you can go and have a fry-up in a cafe somewhere, and then visit a record shop or some record shops. He said to dig through vinyl boxes. Dig normally is something you do in the ground, right? You dig a hole in the ground. I don't know, if you're planting a tree, you would dig a hole in the ground and then put the tree in and then fill it in, right? But you can dig through, for example, boxes of records. That would just be going into the boxes and looking through all of the records. So dig through some vinyl boxes, looking for some records, and then go to the skate park. There is a skate park in Stockwell, which is right next to Brixton, more or less the same place, really. And there's just a skate park, which is just a really good spot for skaters, a place to hang out. And yeah, treat it like a little town. Lots of little villages all joined up, which is what London really is. And then he also mentioned going to a band practice at Practice Studios. That's where you can go and practice music with a band, or even just practice playing the drums on your own or guitar. Or so there you go. That was James's things that he likes to do in London. James has appeared many times on the podcast over the years. Perhaps you could go back and listen to one of